wait a minute. Something ain't right.
A Hong Kong-based pro Hearthstone player received a year-long ban and had his prize money rescinded by Blizzard.
On the live stream, Ing Wai Chung, otherwise known as Blitzchung, put on protective goggles and a gas mask before saying, "Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our age."
Blizzard then announced that Blitzchung was in violation of the 2019 Hearthstone Grandmasters official competition rules. He was also removed from the Grandmasters and will not receive any of the prize money for his performance in Grandmaster Season 2. On top of this, Blizzard banned him from Hearthstone esports for a year and fired the 2 casters who were hosting Blitzchung's interview.
Doesn't it just fill you with pride, showing who you are on the inside? Wave that pride flag up high, be true to you. Happy Pride, everyone!
Bang, bang, he shot me down. Bang, bang, I hit the ground. Bang, bang, that awful sound. Bang, bang, my baby shot me down.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and today I'm going to share with you some communications I've had with both current and former Blizzard employees about the ongoing suit, wide variety of issues. Now, of course, they spoke to me under the impression of anonymity, the exchange of anonymity, and I will provide that. I'll share what receipts I can, but also, you know, I've got a duty to protect my sources. Now, so we've got some breaking news here. There's currently a letter circling inside of Blizzard and Activision that I'm told has over 1,000 signatures already. And this is what it says. To the leaders of Activision Blizzard, we, the undersigned, agree that the statements from Activision Blizzard Inc. and their legal counsel regarding the DFEH lawsuit, as well as the subsequent internal statements from Francis Townsend, are abhorrent and insulting to all we believe our company should stand for. To put it clearly or unequivocally, our values as employees are not accurately reflected in the words or actions of our leadership. Now, obviously, I have a bit of an axe to grind with Blizzard in full transparency over some of their, you know, their wokeness stuff, and obviously with their handling of Hong Kong, they're bending the knee to Chinese censorship. But more than anything, what frustrates me about Blizzard is the hypocrisy. You know, this is a company that has a outside of you know, their store or their building that talks about how every voice matters, and that's just clearly not the case. And if there's something that really grinds my gears on this channel, it's hypocrisy. It's my bread and butter. It's something that also makes my viewers angry, and they like to call it out as well. So I continue. We believe the statements have damaged our ongoing quest for equality inside and outside of our industry. Categorizing the claims that have been made up as distorted and in many cases false creates a company atmosphere that disbelieves victims. It also casts doubt on our organization's ability to hold accusers accountable for their actions and foster a safe environment for people that come forward in the future. These statements made it clear that our leadership is not putting our values first. Immediate corrections are needed from the highest level of our organization. I don't know what that looks like. I imagine that looks like somebody like Jalen Brack finding a new place to work. That looks like, you know, Bobby Kotick getting removed. I think you need that kind of drastic change, to be honest with you. And these people might be fine individuals. I've never met either one of them. But ultimately, when you have a failure from the top down, that's where you have to start fixing the problem. And, you know, Jalen Brack stood up there and talked about how, you know, a Hearthstone player wasn't allowed to proclaim the need for liberty and freedom in his homeland while wearing a pride pin, and then going up and saying, well, we don't allow any statements outside of the game itself. We don't like any, we don't want to allow any, you know, statements that might ruffle feathers. Now, obviously, pride is a more common thing but it's still a non-game related, activism related comment. Our company executives have claimed that actions will be taken to protect us, but in the face of legal action and troubling official response to follow, we no longer trust that our leaders will place employee safety above their own interests. To claim this is a truly meritless and irresponsible lawsuit, while seeing so many current and former employees speak out about their own experiences regarding this bad behavior is simply unacceptable. And I can tell you, nearly a half dozen people have reached out to me and confirmed many of the specific stories in this suit. We call for official statements that recognize the seriousness of these claims and demonstrate compassion for those affected by it. We call on Frances Townsend to stand by her word to step down as executive sponsor of the ABK Employees Women Network as a result of the damaging nature of her statement. We call on executives leadership team to work with us on new and meaningful efforts to ensure employees as well as our community have a safe place to speak out and come forward. We stand with our friends, teammates, colleagues, as well as the members of our dedicated community who've experienced mistreatment of any kind. We will not be silenced. We will not stand aside. We will not give up until the company we love is a workplace that we can feel proud to be part of again. We will be the change. Now, there have been several big name former employees, who have shared this, but I want to share with you. Just let me share this. Oh, also, I've been told by a couple of Blizzard employees that a walkout is currently being considered, planned, and I hope they do. And I hope it's a huge number of people. Now, I spoke to a employee or contractor of Blizzard who was there. I don't want to be too specific about when they were there because it may narrow down who they are. But let's just talk about one specific thing about the suit. There are, as I've said, now this is just one person's one person's position about it. Remember in the suit about the cube crawls where people would crawl around and, tug on people and do stuff that may be inappropriate. Well, this person says the part that I witnessed was in fact the cube crawl, which was 100% a thing. However, the suit makes it seem like it was just for harassing women, which is 100% not true, at least from what I witnessed. I'm sure they still do, but most offices at Irvine Blizzard have beer on tap and was open for anyone to grab. Most people didn't partake till after lunch, but towards the end of the work week and as work was winding down, people would start partaking and start playing games. The cube crawl was more everyone, females included, going around messing with people while they played games, lowering their chair, poking at them in their side, throwing plushies at each other, etc. Nothing specific from what I witnessed. None was harassing females or being overly spicy. Any person who wasn't playing around simply got ignored. So I get the feeling that part of the male employee games while female employees worked in the suit is probably due to the fact that at times where employees were playing while some worked, but when I saw was usually a mix of males and females playing. But again, the cube crawls happened, but do we know, were they specifically to target women? This person says no. They also talked about, I want to be careful about what I'm sharing here, but they say during the Me Too phase of Twitter, anyway, so a few Blizzard employees, past and present, were accused of some form of really bad behavior. One in particular was, I'm going to skip that name. When I worked as a contractor, he was my main point of contact there. While I was at BlizzCon, I attended a few parties with him. At parties, especially when drinking, he was a little flirty with most females, nothing that gave me the impression that it wasn't warranted. So these claims seem kind of weird. I'm not here to defend anything, just giving my thoughts. Again, I think this particular statement, how do I say, doesn't exactly, it just points forward that there are definite truths in here. Here's another former employee statement. I joined, I don't want to say the years, but let's just say they were there several years. Drinking became drinking too much basically became thematic to Blizzard events. The rap parties in Vegas were effectively an homage to the scene in Scarface, with bowls of that powder laying around. Most of the main perpetrators of said activity were from the veterans, nerdy kids who came into way too much money too fast, probably lacking the type of social activities that were afforded to them until they had the capital means to do so. This was rampant all the way up to the penultimate leadership. To my knowledge, Morhaim's name never once made it into the internal rumor mill for bad behaviors. He was probably one of the true good apples in the C-suite. I'm told that Alam Adham was actually a good dude as well, but he joined around the time I was leaving. You may inquire among your other Blizzard contacts, which I'm going to talk about. I don't want to say this. The recent public developments are barely the tippity top of the iceberg that could very be easily the turning point that sinks the Titan. I haven't seen any stories about former CTO, and I'm going to skip their name, their appalling reason for removal, but you may want to poke around as there's a juicy one. Yes, I did find a juicy story, a claim about the former CTO and the reason that they left. So Annie Armstrong just posted minutes ago, Alex Afrasabi, I don't know, did something unacceptable to me. You see this. Now the Twitlongers are going to be coming. Alex did something really bad to me back in 2012 at a Blizzard holiday party. It seems like a lot of the bad behavior is, I've been telling people, work parties, stop providing booze. You would probably avoid 75% of the bad behavior if you stopped trucking in booze to these industry parties. So, I knew many people at the party. I worked at StarCraft 2 Esports at the time and formerly game publishing. I decided to speak up now to add the collective experiences of the Blizzard culture. Alex and I sat at a table inside the ballroom where a party was at Disneyland Hotel with his sister, Sammy. This is the first time I'd ever met his sister. Later in the night, for context, Alan had let me know prior to this moment he was interested in me for something a bit more on the serious side, which was too soon if I was to tell, or if it was going to be reciprocated. However, we were not in a relationship, had not been physical outside of kissing. Later in the night, during the party, Alex and I took a walk, went to the fireplace over the middle of Disneyland Hotel's outdoor area just to walk to get away from the noise for a while. After we came back, we hung out with people outside the party bit, talked to some people who shall remain nameless. Then we went met up with Sammy, went to a small gathering upstairs in an executive suites. I believe it was Rob Pardo's suite. There were about a dozen people up there, total, including Mark Morhaim and Frank Pierce. Alex was getting hammered. I was staying sober, and he was being very, very vocal about what I can assume his crush on me in front of these folks. He was saying to everyone in a loud toast manner that who I was if they didn't know me, and then I was Annie, and I worked in StarCraft Esports with FX Open, blah, 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 blah. And he was saying that he was going to marry me. I remember my inner dialogue saying WTF at the time. Morhaim was sitting on a couch against the window, was friendly towards me, and told me Leenock was his favorite player and remembers me from esports events. Alex and Sammy and I left the suite and walked out of the parking lot. My car was on the other side of the hotel parking lot. Sammy opened the car door of her brother's Mercedes. I got in the back so she could drop me off at my car. Alex followed after me. Between that time, I got in and was dropped off at my car. Alex shocked me by boldly sticking his hand inside of my dress and grabbing me, pushing my stuff aside. I pushed his hand out of fury. I was furious. This was completely shocking and unwanted. I knew right then that he did not value or respect me, but I also made the excuse to myself that he was hammered. I wrote it off. Again, based on everything else that's coming out, I am inclined to believe this stuff. I am inclined to believe it. I talked to here you can see Cher Scarlett, a 20-year of engineering over at Blizzard, saying that Annie's story overlaps with mine. It overlaps with many others. This isn't about Blizzard leadership not knowing. It's about seeing it and not recognizing it as bad behavior. There was all sorts of this stuff. All sorts of it. let me go back to my other. I've got another email from another former Blizzard employee. You can see that, okay, my experience from the start was wrought with frat culture. I could say this was at least a modicum of experience, as I was in a frat in college. That said, Blizzard was far worse than anything I experienced with my college fraternity. I wasn't even through my first week of employment when I was made aware that my director had something of a reputation for hiring inexperienced, I don't know what this word is. It didn't take long to realize the rumors were completely true. Our monthly team meetings were labeled drinkies so as to seem less formal because of good game company good, corporation bad. During those meetings, it was not uncommon for many people to drink way too much. Many would drive home. Many occasions of marital infidelity occurred. Yeah, again, it's the drinking. It's so stupid that these companies continue to facilitate booze culture. Just drinking at work is stupid. You know, I just don't know. I don't know. I'm getting more emails like literally as I'm reading this. There's going to be a walkout. This is developing in real time as I'm recording this. I am inclined to be very skeptical of these type of widespread claims, but this is one where I've got out and done some legwork, and it appears that a lot of this stuff is true. I talked to somebody who was at Blizzard, a female Blizzard employee who had been there for a very long time. And if you want, you know, look into the CTO Penn Kilgore's appalling reason for removal. I think there's more to be known there. I can't say for sure, as I have not completely confirmed, but if what they say is true, is you know, what I'm told by my sources is that he coerced several female employees into physical relationships and spoke about some very terrible things. If I got too specific, you'd know who my sources were there, or they'd be concerned. So there were things that, you know, were reported to HR and ignored. There was all sorts of just terrible behavior. It looks like a lot of Blizzard employees. I expect more Blizzard employee emails to come through now. The reason I'm not showing you the screenshots, and believe me, if I have to, I will show them, is I don't want to miss anything that could get these people fired or bring unwanted hate to them. Again, do I believe that 100% of everything that's been said about Blizzard is true? No. But I certainly don't buy that they're guiltless in this. And if you look at the way former employees are like almost overcorrecting and saying, oh, well, I never would have, oh gosh, this is just the worst, it makes me question just how much of that is coming from a guilty conscience. My heart goes out to Blizzard employees who are not a part of the machine, who are, I'm sure, the overwhelming majority of people there. You know, I take only a small amount of joy in egg on Blizzard's face, but really, I think it's just time for Jalen Brack to go. I think it's time for a big firing at Blizzard, and it's time for some accountability, not just for the game state and the leadership, but, you know, this stuff is bad and it's going to get worse. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. Make sure you click that red subscribe button down below the video. I'm sure I'll have huge updates tomorrow as well. We'll talk to you again real soon.